PSA card put together the most popular athletes for baseball, football, and basketball in 2025. So we got baseball here for Otani, we've got Jaden Daniels for football, and we have Caitlin Clark in basketball. And she was graded with Cooper Flag, Victor Wembanyama, LeBron James, and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. And look at the map here. It is dominated by Caitlin Clark. I mean, this girl is really popular. And to nobody's surprise, she's everywhere. She gets marketed a lot. Her shoes sell out, and she brought a lot of fans to the WNBA. And as you see here, it is CC's world. And I'm not surprised. Now, unfortunately, we look at what happened this season with the WNBA. We talked about the CBA negotiations falling flat. It was a rough year for Caitlin Clark. Had injuries, and the refs this year were just terrible in those games for the Fever. We saw how the media treated Caitlin Clark versus Paige Beckers. I mean, it's just been a complete mess. Now, I'm not saying it was only the Fever games. The referees have been a complete joke for the WNBA. It's more rugby ball than basketball out there. And then when you look at Kathy Engelbert, how she treated Caitlin Clark this season, when you look at Paige Beckers winning Rookie of the Year, she showed up and congratulated her. When Caitlin Clark won Rookie of the Year, she gave her a phone call. When Asia Wilson won MVP, she showed up for her. It's just how she's done things and handled these players. And it just makes you wonder, can she lead the WNBA going forward and elevate it to a new level? I don't think she needs to be there anymore, in my personal opinion. She's not the only problem with the WNBA, but the way Paige Beckers was treated this year versus Caitlin Clark, it's just ridiculous. Now, I'm not hating on Paige Beckers. She's got a ton of talent. When you look at popularity, the numbers speak for itself. Caitlin Clark is on a different stratosphere than Paige Beckers. No offense there. It's just how it is with the market. People love watching Caitlin Clark. And if you want to argue, oh, Paige Beckers is better, I don't think she is. Not at playmaking, not as the three-point shooter that Caitlin Clark is in the range she has. And we're not even going to talk about aura. We know it's Caitlin Clark's world. And I just don't understand why the WNBA have really just fumbled this bag, in my opinion. And it could get worse if they don't get a deal done because now there's going to be no basketball. And people are like, well, what are we going to watch? Oh, we'll just watch baseball, I guess, or we'll just wait till football season. And then you're going to lose a majority of, not a majority, but you'll lose some fans because some of them have watched the past 2 seasons and they're still going to give it a chance because they want to watch Cam Clark be healthy. The Fever were 1 game away from making the WNBA finals, and they're going to tune in for her. And this league is slowly growing. I've watched Nafisa Collier. I've liked her as a basketball player. The Golden State Valkyries were a great story for the WNBA, especially with the fan attendance. They were at the top of the list because Golden State is known for basketball, and that was a great decision, adding them as an expansion team because the Golden State Warriors moved to San Francisco, and putting the Valkyries there was a great decision. And we saw the fans support that team. And not having them around is just leaving fans with a sour taste in their mouth. The players came out and said, we care about the fans, but you don't want to get a deal done because you're not getting away with everything. It's just ridiculous. Most importantly, you need Caitlin Clark out there. You need her to be healthy. And I don't know what's going to happen going forward. But, it just seems like they just fumbled this bag with Caitlin Clark and how they've treated her. We've seen, players in the past like Shara Swoops lie about her career. We saw like Alyssa Thomas get offended when they were talking about she could break the assist record, and she did. And I think Alyssa Thomas broke the record this year again or surpassed Caitlin Clark. It's cool. I mean, that's good competition. But the way they treat Paige Beckers versus Caitlin Clark is just insane to me. So I want to play this clip from Chelsea Gray where she was talking about how she's learning from other players and she can get better. She mentions Caitlin Clark in this clip, and it's funny because I saw fans this year talk about how the Fever are better without Caitlin Clark when they win a deep playoff run. And my thing is this, Caitlin Clark was in those huddles. Kelsey Mitchell talked about how she got some advice from Caitlin Clark. She was pointing things out to her. And Kelsey Mitchell was using that in the game to help the Fever win and get farther in the playoffs. And you could say, oh, well, they got that far, but they could have used Caitlin Clark's playmaking, her shooting ability, so you can stress that defense and get easier shots for Boston and Mitchell. And it does help to have someone out there who can run the offense because the Fever had moments where they struggled to generate shots. It was ups and downs with the offense throughout the playoffs. And when you have somebody who can orchestrate the offense and organize the players, you have a better chance of scoring the basketball. So you look at the Fever this past season, they were just fighting. They were just not giving up. They had a great mentality. and it was a tough season for Caitlin Clark, but there's no way that you can say, oh, well, they are much better without Clark. You have to understand you need all your players out there to go out and win a championship. And sure, they had a great run, but to say that, oh, Caitlin Clark, is in the lineup and they're not as good is crazy because they made the playoffs the year before. And when Kelsey Mitchell didn't have Caitlin Clark, they never made the playoffs. First year as a rookie, they make the playoffs. So it was a great season, but doesn't mean that the Fever are better without Caitlin Clark. That's just crazy talk to me. So let's go ahead and get right into this.
For it. Speaking of that young talent, besides some terminology and some slang and swag, like what else do you think they can teach you?
They can add to my bag. Honestly, there's some new things. Paige did a little like in and out and like hook layup in practice. And I was like, I'm going to try that and I'm going to add that to the bag. We talk about Caitlin's range and being able to do that off the dribble. So I want to get better off the dribble. And so those are the few things. Sonia was there, Citron was there, and her ability to create space off of the pull-up is really cool. So there's little tidbits you can always get from somebody's game, no matter what age they are.
Mind you, Chelsea Gray is a 4-time WNBA champion. So if she's trying to get better at her game with the off the dribbling, with the hook shots, with Citron's game, that should tell you everything about Caitlin Clark's influence in the WNBA. And shout out to Chelsea Gray for showing Caitlin Clark some love. And we've seen Kelsey Mitchell talk in the past about, yeah, I'm better with Caitlin Clark. Obviously, because you're a scoring first guard and you need a point guard to set yourself up for success. You look at the Phoenix Suns last year and how they struggled on offense because they didn't have enough playmaking. And I'm seeing the same thing with the Houston Rockets where they need some playmaking out there. You can't play isolation basketball throughout the game and expect to have your offense running on all cylinders because you got to be able to move the ball, set your teammates up for success. And when you don't have that point guard out there to run your offense, get your sets where they need to be, it makes it harder to generate good looks. So for me, with Caitlin Clark, I just hope she can get healthy. And look at the popularity. It doesn't surprise me whatsoever. And shout out to Chelsea Gray for just showing her love because she's got some game. I know she's had her ups and downs because she's getting older in age. But, man, the Las Vegas Aces win the championship. Deserve a ton of credit for how they just handled business. They had a rough stretch. So they were struggling for a while, and they just turned it on. And just another example of a player wanting to learn and get better. Hope you guys enjoyed this video today. I'd love to hear your thoughts with Caitlin Clark being the most popular player in basketball for 2025. Also, what Chelsea Gray had to say about Caitlin Clark. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you on the next one.